Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. Nice to be back with you all. So today we will cover ES to get our framework as usual. We'll look at Bitcoin. We'll look at ETH. We'll look at some stocks. Maybe we'll look at Solana. We will cover the ETH prediction post that got me a bunch of new followers lately. Thank you all for being here. We'll cover that. I'll do an update on that, answer some of the questions I got about it. And then for the new followers, I'm going to direct you guys to some of my, most well-received content, so to say. It'll be content on trading psychology. For those of you who are your first year or your second year into trading, I basically go through my experiences and things I wish I knew. And it was a very well-received video. We'll cover some of that. Also, portfolio management, risk management, how I split up my portfolio. Crash scenarios, so when the market is crashing, how do I prepare, how do I execute during crashes, and then there's also an options trading video. There's a bunch of different videos, but basically I wanted to sort through, because I have a ton of videos, I wanted to sort through and pick out the very best ones. So all the new followers, you guys can check those out and you'll see if it's worth your time to stick around here or not, and hopefully it is. Okay, so starting right off the bat here, we're looking at ES, S&P 500, okay? I personally have to think, and this could be my position talking, I had originally thought that we were going to bounce off around 39.10. We're a bit lower now. Actually, even before that, I thought we were going to run this low right here, so this could be playing out. Little bit scatterbrained, but let me explain. When I look at these levels, first off, we see, how do I identify this level? I see resistance here, we break down below, we close back above, we hit resistance here again, right? And then this is our lowest point of support, which sends us back upwards, okay? So we have our resistance here, we move down, we find support here, this sends us upwards, all right? So this is my basically support level here of interest, and typically, especially on ES, I've noticed that these support levels, they get like briefly ran or briefly deviated, and then it's a nice reclaim and go. We saw that happen here, right? Look, move upwards. See this low? Deviated, moves up. Okay? So that's what I'm watching for here. I'm hoping to see some type of a double bottom and move back upwards. The reason why, I know you guys know that I have an overall bearish thesis, but in terms of the summer, I had spoke about this. I thought that we were going to move up in the summer for at least some type of chop consolidation in here overall. I wanted to get a test in here to basically aggressively short the market to lower, but unfortunately it stopped right around here. So let's just move this down time frame a little bit. Really, yeah, I want to see a sweep of this real quick, reclaim. I want to get back to here. This is where I'm looking to, like I said, aggressively short. I'm probably just going to get some puts for lower, some aggressive puts, and that's my plan. If we break down through here immediately, in my opinion, that's the market turning into pretty much panic mode. That would be the equivalent of what we saw around here. Quick bounce, right? Quick bounce. And we just start nuking through. If we're just going to nuke through this level, I think we're going to start legging down, just like we did here. This was the COVID crash, though. This was, you have to think about it differently, in my opinion. This feels like almost an orchestrated move down by the Fed. Like I said, if you follow my feed a lot, the Fed is trying to reduce inflation, and the Fed cannot control supply, but they can control demand. And if they're basically just reducing everyone's portfolios to zero, there's not going to be a lot of demand. There's not going to be a lot of free cash flow to move around. So that's basically how they artificially nuke, demand, and that should in turn lower inflation. So if we do break down through here, like I said, the COVID crash was very different because there was something that people didn't understand, and markets hate uncertainty. But as far as we can see, there is a lot of certainty around the market right now. It's just that we know that the Fed is going to continue to raise rates and use quantitative tightening until we see 2% inflation. So in my opinion, I thought we were going to see some kind of relief in here for the summer, just a relaxing summer. Typically liquidity dries up, things get a bit more calm. whales go out on the boat for the summer, whatever you want to say. And then I thought towards the end of the year is when we start doing these, new lows and whatnot. And that's how I would see it. So ultimately, and we are getting some confluence about this idea from Bitcoin. In my opinion, for Bitcoin, here's what I want to see. We'll just go down. We'll just break it down quick. I was going to, cover this from high time frame down, but just to keep the thought process flowing here, I would like to see Bitcoin just sweep this level into, 27.7 or so, reclaim, move up towards at least 32 area. And if at that point, if we're still, pretty just overall bearish and people are quick to sell, this could be the top and before we move lower. If there wants to be some euphoria in the market and a little bit of a, just let's call it euphoric movement, I could see all these highs being taken out and move into like 34. And then that would be my topping point right there. As far as short term goes, I'm looking to bid around 27.7. I don't think we should be pushing into here if we're still bullish at all. I think this should be a wick that's basically, if you got in here, that should be safe for at least 32 or 34K. And if we do push into here, I don't see that as bullish. I don't think like a sweep of this is bullish. Doesn't make sense to me. Also, consider that this low is very different on all different exchanges. On some exchanges, this low is 25K. On some, it's 22K. On some, it's 26K. So there's not going to be necessarily a ton of liquidity built up around a single price point. These lows are all different. So I'm not interested in price down here. If price is down here, I'm back into full short mode. Outside of that, I'm bullish as long as we're holding 27.7. And when I say bullish, I mean bullish to about 32K. That's about it. Still macro bear until we get back towards that 2% inflation number. In my opinion, we will bottom before 2% inflation. It's really just the policy that gets us there that's going to eventually put in the bottom, or the wording of the policy. Take a sip of water here. If you're new to my streams, I do drink a lot of water. Or videos, whatever you want to say. Okay, so that's the thought process on ES. Looking for a double bottom here, potentially even a sweep. Really, as a trader, you very much have to consider your own bias and why you think something should occur. In my opinion, I just saw this as, this was the pre-FOMC pump. We came down, and this is sort of your obvious level right here, right? We can see it just so much. Support, supports again, deviation, supports again. And in this time, you get a bunch of consolidation, and the market finally says, okay, this is no longer value, and we're moving down. I really thought that we would get a retest of at least this level in here. So it could be my bias speaking, because I really wanted to get short in here, and we just didn't come up quite far enough. So that's always something that you have to consider and think about on your own. And then I also thought that this level could potentially hold right here, which we broke through. And then it flipped and served as resistance. So, and you also have a strong down move here. Just a strong down move, basically clearing out, a couple days of price action, basically just in a day or two of moves. So the only thing I can say here that gives me any comfort to think that we may go higher is that, when you think it's super shitty and when you think it's over, that often that's a bait and market moves up. But honestly, this doesn't look good at the moment. But if I had to say something, maybe short-term push into 40, I don't know, maybe sweep this low and hopefully more move back towards 4140, 4140, right around there. And this is the short to go lower. That's the thought process for ES. That's the framework. And I think it's supported by Bitcoin right now. Not that, Bitcoin is obviously at the mercy of the S&P 500 when it really comes down to it. There's been a short-term, decorrelation over the past day, but it is at the mercy. If we continue to break down and make new lows here on ES, then Bitcoin's definitely going down. But the fact that we've seen it be fairly strong in the face of ES going down, someone, or the market in general, just doesn't believe that it's time to make new lows. And I would have to agree in the sense that look at previous support and resistance, 1 test, 2 tests, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically 7 tests before we broke down. You're telling me that this level, this daily level here that caused this move up right here, basically level to level right here, that this is going to break in just 2 shots? Like, look at this wick. It got bought up, and now we are. I need to see this. I would like to see this daily close back strongly, honestly. But to me, it doesn't make sense if we're just going to break down immediately. That says to me panic. That doesn't say, I don't know. It says to me panic. It would look like COVID panic. It wouldn't look like a market that sort of knows what's to come and is just slowly repricing. It would look like panic. And when I see, a previous level being tested 6 times, and this one's going to break on the very second test, I don't know. Doesn't seem right to me. So I want to see upside from here. If we break below here, not good. Not good. Maybe push into here. You do obviously have some support here, but I feel like your level that is supposed to matter here, resistance, finds support here, pushes up into the next level, basically, and then look when it breaks down, level to level, right? Here to here, just immediately. At least this level should hold, and we should see 4,000, right? This basically previous support before we broke down. That would be where I'd be interested in potential, take profit of anything around here. If you get a sweep and you get a long, that would be my take profit, that 4,000 level. And that's that. All right, and on to Bitcoin. We discussed Bitcoin, just looking for a sweep, looking for 27.7, and looking to take profit at this previous resistance right here that's already served. And is obviously resistance, right? Rejection. We don't fully come up to it once again. Front run on the short. I was looking to short this level, front run on the short. Are we really not going to give any clean retests of these short levels? If so, then, like I said, we're just so bearish that unfortunately we're not getting retests. But it's hard to simply jump in and say, oh yeah, I'm going to take a shittier risk reward trade rather than just being patient. So I had to be patient for this, and I still do think we see 32K before we see, new lows where I'm eventually anticipating. When talking about new lows, I would say check out this video, the Doomsday video, where I talk about buying the bottom. I talk about levels that I'm interested, how I plan to scale in. So this is a bit of that introduction for the new people. We're not really into this part yet, but see, I break it down by the numbers, try to give you guys a plan, how to break it down, how to have, clips. I call them clips, basically, to push into the market, and how to sort of dollar cost average in, and, just a day-to-day basis, and how to protect yourself in these major down moves, and how I plan to buy a major crash. So that's the Doomsday Prep video called Doomsday Prep, Buying the Bottom. You can check that one out. All right, moving into, we talked ES, we talked Bitcoin, and now moving into Ethereum. Ethereum, nothing in the short term because I really have my eyes set on Bitcoin. I think Ethereum in the longer term, if we do manage to get back up to this swing point right here, I like a swing, deviation, and then down. So that's my plan. I'll be looking for that, okay? That's pretty easy. For Ethereum, we need to talk about the ETH prediction. Okay. See which video that was. Okay, that was the state of things. Okay, so we're just going to talk about it from this view. It's going to make it easier for me. I don't know exactly what I have it saved under. So if you watch this video around this time, you'll hear me saying I didn't pre-watch this, so I forget exactly what I said, but you'll hear me saying something like, okay, I think there'll be a breakout here, and then this is going to get everyone very euphoric, this breakout. There's going to be a lot of euphoria around it, and then everyone's going to think, oh, the bottom's in, and they're going to be buying. They're going to be buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. Everyone's been buying the dip all the way down, and, you know, that's just adding to the downward pressure and the panic when we finally break through these levels. Okay, so this original, this part of the drawing was drawn somewhat to time scale. I know I commented and said that the goal of my drawings are not time scale, and that's mostly true. I can't, if I wanted to do everything to time scale, I'd have to make the chart on the weekly or something to have a ton of room. But this opening part was sort of to scale, and then this consolidation point here and this rally here is where things are obviously not accurate on the time scale. I think that if we break down in a major way and we see a lot of downside for crypto, I'm talking, 20,000 Bitcoin, 1,300 ETH, 1,000 ETH, anywhere around there, that we are going to see some type of a more prolonged bear market. This could be up to, it really depends on the Fed's policies, right? If you're familiar with, Arthur Hayes and whatnot, he writes those pretty good blogs, and, he said until something breaks, and, even before I read his blogs, though, I had this similar thought. The Fed is truly concerned about fighting inflation, and they have to be, because otherwise then your middle and your low class, your middle class and your lower class citizens basically go poor, can't live, can't afford food, can't afford gas. They have to fight inflation, and if they have to fight inflation, the markets are going to go down, and I think that's going to be a more prolonged bear, and until something breaks, as Hayes said, you probably don't see them flip the switch and go back to QE or say, okay, no more hiking. So it's really going to be on the Fed schedule, in my opinion. But I think that it could take up to, it could be, a long, a decent amount of time below here. It could also be just a sweep below here and then more time in the low 2Ks, right? Like maybe you only get offered the 1,300 price for a day or two, and then it's a consolidation back up towards 2,000, and we start ranging in this area for a while, and we don't see the 5,000 ETH again or something for at least, I would say, late 2023 into 2024. So that's how I'm seeing the whole ETH prediction playing out. We can go to the ETH chart, and let's see, just put this on the weekly, just get a view on it. So yeah, you have your previous all-time highs here. You have, let's just delete this stuff for now. You have all these lows right here, right? And then you have your weekly demand in here. Okay, so we need to sweep all these lows, and then while we're at it, I think when you sweep all these lows, people are going to get very panicked. There's going to be a lot of liquidations. Might as well sweep this low too. And then there you go. You have a push into the 1200s area, or something around there. So now we're in the 1200s or 1300s. Probably a quick capitulation in here, right? So we go down, capitulation, bounce back up. We're into the weekly block now. We consolidate inside the weekly block for a while. Maybe one more test, and then that's when you start going off to the races, right? So that's my plan for Ethereum and basically the update on the ETH post. I think that makes sense. The time frame, the time scale was discussed, and yeah, that's the update on the ETH post. I think everything is pretty clear there. Okay, let's see what else real quick. If you're looking at any stocks or anything, my longer term target on Tesla, deviation below all these lows, right? Something in here, depending on the Fed and how crazy things get, either 550 area or even as low as potentially 450 to 400 area. But ultimately, this would be my first area of interest for buying, something along those lines. If you're looking at NVIDIA, 130s, just the start of this uptrend, right? Pretty clean, right? Resistance, deviation, start of the uptrend, right in here, anywhere between 130 and 140 is where I'm eyeing NVIDIA. If we do get some type of a bear market rally at some point, we can see we had resistance here. We break through for the uptrend, deviation to the downside, push up, once again deviation to the downside, push up, come back down this time, not a deviation to the downside, basically market accepting and pushing down. If we get back up into here, this is now resistance. It was support, now it's flipped to resistance, and that should push us down. Okay, that's NVIDIA. Those are my two major of interest. The other ones I don't really have too much on at the moment. AMD, I think it's going to, you have your major up move here, support, flips to resistance. I think this should be headed down towards, mid 70s, something of that nature in time. I'm not sure if it happens immediately. Like I said, I think we could see bear market rally throughout the summer. I think we may be at peak fear right now. Even I feel a little bit not fearful, because it's not like my money is at jeopardy to a degree, obviously. Like I said, I'm ready for the 27.7 on BTC. I obviously have some trades ready to go, but as far as downside, I don't, I'm basically fully stabled, so not a big deal to me. Been fully stabled. You guys have seen all the tweets that I did, saying, retweet this one. Yeah, I mean, if you follow along my videos, you've known that. And if you look at like the portfolio management video, I believe, I think it's this one, portfolio management. Was it this one? I think it's this one. Basically, I talk about, selling all in these areas and why I was selling, what indicators I was using, what thought process I was using, percentages that I was layering out. Yeah, so that's all in this video, portfolio management. Okay, back towards ES. Yeah, I just don't think we're ready for major downside yet. If we are, it would be pretty unfortunate, just because. Oh yeah, I was talking about fear. Yeah, I guess my fear is somewhat fear of missing out, I suppose. It's just because I really wanted to get in here. I was like, I was so ready to get in here. I was so ready to short, and then boom, it just tanks. So that leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But hey, that's the market. What can you do? All right, moving on to Solana. I'm not sure why Solana gets so much love. I really don't. But nonetheless, something I've learned in crypto and in the markets is, when something is, excluding Luna, right? But when something has a cult-like following, and Luna did make a huge run-up, when something has a cult-like following, it typically does better, because you want a coin that people are interested in. You want a coin that people are talking about, because that's how you bring new money into the coin. It's as simple as that. So Solana, $25, I'm interested. The beginning of this major up move here, right? Consolidation all the way down, right? So we have resistance. We finally break through. What causes us to break through this level here? $25. Simple. Okay, so we covered market analysis. We covered Ethereum and the prediction. And now we will quickly do an introduction for the new followers. Everyone who's joined me in the past couple days, thank you very much. I'm glad to have you here. Hopefully you're enjoying this video and learning and getting some valuable information. Okay, like I said, if it's your first year or two into the game, maybe even 3 years, I don't know. I'm in the game about 6 or 7 years now. I don't know who even keeps track anymore. But in this video, Trading Psychology, this is where I really go into my thought process over my first year or two. I talked to you about how I started the game. I started with a loan, very small amount, in I think it was $2,500 or $3,500. I forget the exact amount. I started with a very small amount of money as a loan, not necessarily what I advise to people, but basically this video, I go through all my early on experiences and what I did to get better. And something here that this is a nice comment, and we're not going to read through all the comments, but just to give you guys some perspective, this guy says, after a heavy, stressful day, I had this video on speakerphone on my bed and slept while listening. My wife was doing her office work next to me. She doesn't even know anything about crypto trading or any of these financial aspects. You explained this so clearly clearly and in an interesting way that she had listened to the whole thing while working, and she was explaining to me the content of the video in the morning. Cheers, mate. This is lovely content. We newbies need this brainstorming session. So really, when I do videos and stuff, it's all from, the heart, for lack of better words. I don't, pre-think anything or do a spreadsheet before or whatever you want to say, bullet points. I just go off the top of my head because that's what trading is. It's really, obviously it's about having a plan and it's about being prepared and then executing when the time comes. But this type of stuff doesn't just, it's very difficult to be a machine in trading. So I think it's good to just talk off the top of my head, and that resonates more with people. Okay, so trading psychology part 1 here, trading psychology with Crypto Chase. This is a very good video to start with. Start with this one if you're new. Trading Psychology Part 2, okay, again, just sort of piggybacking off the last one, very well received by the audience. Portfolio management, risk management, this is a great video, again, to talk about, how I layered out, how I got back in. I mean, I remember selling this, buying this publicly with tweets, talking about, hey, I'm selling here, I'm buying here. I probably talk about that in this video at some point, and I explain how I do it and my thought process behind it. Here I discuss net worth, not my just net worth in general, and how it relates to your portfolio and how much of your net worth should be into certain coins or stocks and percentages, terminology, all that stuff. Very good video for beginners. Here's the Doomsday Crash video where I discuss how I plan to buy the bottom, prices that have not hit yet. So this is still a very valuable video. This is an options trading video for those of you who are interested in options and other videos have been too confusing or anything. I really try to break it down to simple concepts and explain options for short-term option trading, longer-term option trading. I think this is a really good video if you're interested in options. This video is the state of things. This was the ETH prediction and where it came from. I forget what else is in this one, but feel free to check it out if interested. And then this final one here was just me covering more trading psychology stuff and a lot of questions from my followers and just stuff that I hadn't answered before. Okay, so that's just about everything. I think we covered the ETH prediction post, we covered Bitcoin, we covered ES framework, we covered some alts, we looked at some stocks. I went over all the videos for the new followers. Once again, thanks. Glad that you're all here. If you enjoyed this video, please retweet on Twitter. It's very helpful just to get it out there to everybody. Leave a comment, leave a question, anything that you want. Okay, appreciate you guys coming out, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks. See you later.